And we're back with another Suzerain. So what happened in the last stream is that we've actually finally have a vote in the General Assembly, and it was very tense. Oh, hi, creative nickname. Okay. I'm actually playing Suzerain. Okay. Basically this game is about becoming the president of a country and managing the conflicts. And last stream, like I said, we've fought, we've actually had a vote on our reform. Okay, so of course, as the you can control how which way you want to go with. Okay, either you want to go for reform to fix the justice system. Okay, or you can just go even further to controlling the how should I say this to control the system, to have even more power for the president. And I feel, well, for me, I believe that it's best for us to, make things better for the future. Okay, and I passed quite a lot of economic, educational reforms already. Okay, for the better. Like for example, like teaching of evolution in school. Okay, and not giving any incentive to creationism. Okay, and with all that culmination comes to the reform that we are trying to pass, and we passed it with, if I'm not mistaken, 172 to 179. Let me just double check it. Okay, let me just check. There's something here. It didn't mention here, but if I'm not mistaken, it's 170 to 79. We need around 166, so we barely eked it out. Okay, because there's a total of 250 seats. Because I think one of the major factor is that the previous the first president, or the most prominent president, who had in control for 20 years, came, and because he felt that his power is being threatened. So now we're going to see what kind of consequences it will bring. Okay, and just one thing I want to say is that another thing that worries me is our economy. As you can see, it's not looking healthy. I should have early on. I should have spent our budget on economy. There's one that I regretted not doing, because I was worried whether the budget can last, but that was when I can still get in the positive. Yes, it is pretty hard. Okay, but the thing is, since this as you can see here, okay, we are the leader of the USP, United Sordland Party. Okay, and even with that, there's factions in it. Okay, so there's the conservative faction and the reform faction. The reform, of course, means a more progressive party, and since, in a sense, that the USP is inherently conservative, because they've been in power for over 20-30 years. Okay, and it leans to the conservative side, but there's even a further conservative side, which is led by this guy, Kesaro Kimner. And this guy is like an Orwellian guy who he passed two bills. Okay, which first one is, if I'm not mistaken, something about united religious something. Okay, it sounds good, but the main point of it is to synchronize all. In other words, to only use Swordish as the language of to conduct the sermons, which is definitely going to be anger the minorities. And there's also another one similar to that, but this time it's about language in schools. And I would just like to say that I got a feeling that we are gonna have an internal party, civil war, because Tarquin Soul, which is basically like the at this point he's like the grandfather of the party, and he actually came and he put pressure on the legislator. Now I don't know whether there's one choice that might affect our voting in the assembly, which is to either basically like the creationism and the evolution I talked about earlier. Maybe since we basically make evolution a mandatory, and like in other words, like they can teach creationism if they want. Maybe they gave us like the small edge because like we won, but we managed to pass it by 6 votes. Okay, I wonder if I chose like, in other words, we go for full evolution. In other words, like we ban creationism. I wonder if we will lose it. How was this election? It's not an election. It was a voting on the bill. Oh, my election. Yeah, my country had an election on Saturday. Basically, it was not that. I wasn't hoping for that. My country's political, I would like to say, it is more or less like this, okay? Because yeah, it was raining, okay? But it was raining, I wouldn't say quite heavily, but maybe in certain parts, okay? But there's a couple of flood prone area, and they are affected a little bit, but not to the extent of what happened last year. Last year, like the whole, because like it's in our capital, Kuala Lumpur, that basically there's a lot of residential area or like in the area, and this one particular residential area became like the swimming pool, okay? And because the sewage system, like they originally it's only meant for them, but then since every other residential area piled up, and it got overflowed, and the whole residential area turned to a pool. Like if I'm not mistaken, last year the water actually went up to the first floor or second floor. That until to that point, and the day or like a couple 2 or 3 days before the election happened, like a minor flooding happened. Like it reached like maybe between ankle level flooding to maybe your abdomen level. So those people really hated the current government. Well, because so far our country had been ruled by one party, more or less like the USP here, and they've been really terrible and like only focused. They are very, how should I say this? They play the race card very well, because you need to understand that Malaysia is 70% Malay, 20% like 15 to 20% Chinese, and like 7-8% Indians, and rest are minorities. So the thing is that I wouldn't say that the minority like have a major power, but the thing is like they still have quite a prominent voice. Yeah, it's UMNO, Barisan Nasional. The thing is that they've been controlled for over like close to 60 years, and we had never changed government until the most recent one, 2018. There was hope in 2013, but we didn't manage. So this is basically like a repeat of the last one. This time it's hard because like every other party, like since they screwed up last time, that coalition like scattered around. There are many other parties that came up this time, and basically from their faction, like they further split the vote. And now the coalition that I was hoping for to win, they managed to get the most seats. Okay, but here comes the but, is that they didn't have enough seats to form a government. Okay, so they didn't have the simple majority. The thing about what, like, this, like, those who wanted change will only knows of one how do I say this, one choice, which is the Pakatan Harapan, which is like the, if it's translated in English, the Hope Coalition. That's the only, like, choice for us if you ever want to hope for, great things. And even though they are only in power for 2 to 3 years, one of the things that I'm very grateful of is they've managed to, like, scale down the internet rates. Okay, so, like, if back, of course, with currency and everything, okay, we are using ringgit, but our standard is like, ringgit is basically like dollar, and more or less it's like living based on living cost. I'm not talking about exchange rates. The living cost is basically like your standard salaries people expect, right, within 2.53k. So I think it's comparable to the US. But the thing is that our internet rates were crazy expensive. So I remember back during that time, 2 Mbps cost 140 ringgit. So, like, but after they took over, basically they scaled down, and, like, right now I'm using 100 Mbps for like 130. So I've got like 50 times better speed at less cost. So, like, I really appreciate that. And of course they did try to reform, but then again, but before COVID, they took over the government back again by like, enticing the politicians to switch parties. And that's how there's a huge debacle right before COVID lockdown. So people are pissed, but it seems like they got distracted by it. Okay, so enough with like Malaysian politics. I'll talk about it later on. Okay, but let's try and look at this at the game. Let's check. I will always leave the whole Sordland for last, because, like, that's where our most important decision will be made. Okay, meeting on the results of the assembly vote. And by the way, if you think that how should I say, in America, I know that you all think that like, white supremacists and things. Let me tell you one thing. In our constitution, in Malaysian constitution, we had a clause in our constitution that advocates for Malay supremacists. Well, they word it as Malay ownership, and what it entails is basically like you remember just now the makeup of our country, 7 Malay, basically like what 7 Malay, like 15% Chinese and 7-8% Indian. Okay, so like basically like 7 should be around 7-3. Okay, and one thing I would just like to tell you, that if you go to any branch of the government, except for school, except for teachers, okay, so other than that, all the public sector, okay, in other words, like the Ministry of anything, over 90% are Malays. So, like, for us minorities, we knew that we will not be able to get into government jobs, because, like, it's skewed toward racial bias. And what's worse, is that the biggest branch of like biggest branch of universities, they basically had they're basically based on race. That if you want to enter those universities, you either have to be a Malay or a native, and that's bullshit. Because like you basically like don't need to pay for tuition, but for us, the rest of us, if you ever want to have like even a diploma, we have to pay it from our own pocket. And as one more thing is that there have been horror stories, okay? Like some students, they only have like 1A or 2As, they can get into public university because they're Malay. But some students who have 9 or 10As, they applied for multiple public universities and they didn't get accepted. So we minorities know that, yeah, we've been treated like shit. But as you can see, the results bear it out. Of course, the younger generation, they prefer the change the Hope Coalition, hoping for more change. But it's pretty disappointing. Okay, let's get back. Lucian, Peter, and I convened on the massive balcony of the palace. It was nice to catch a breeze in the increasing summer heat. Both had grins on their faces, but Peter got larger as he kept recounting our success in the assembly. I wonder where Peter was during the assembly. Okay, if you remember, Peter was absent until like we voted. So that's one very like annoying thing. Like, was he fooling around again? Fellas, the first obstacle has been cleared. Congratulations to us all. I will not choose number 3. He's been missing the whole time. We can celebrate once we get past the court. The president's right, the assembly was the easy part. Peter leaned on the balcony railing. I would just like to say that that the reason why the previous president failed in the game is that the Supreme Court basically like blocked his, you know, whatever his agenda is. So we might be facing it because the same problem, because one of our main promises in our campaign is for us to make changes to the political system, okay? And it seems like we're gonna walk down that path. And another thing that I feel now I regret is that not giving extra funding towards Lilius, this cabinet, not giving extra to no, not Lilius, Nia Morgna, okay? Because she said that she's gonna do an anti-corruption. Now that I think about it, we can get like those Supreme Court to the thing is that I want to like have a corruption investigation against those Supreme Court and see how it happened. But the thing is, I just remember that one of the reforms gave immunity to them, and we tried and we maintained their immunity. So maybe it didn't. Maybe it might have a minor. It might have a minor effect on it. Now that I think about it, I think a lot about it. You know, during the weekend, how am I supposed to get past all of this? So about Taco and Sol, did you see him again? It sounded like he didn't know at all. As far as I know, he's still staying in Hallsword. He hasn't cared to pay his respect to President Rayne yet. What the hell was that about anyway? He came appearing out of nowhere? He's not a threat. He is a threat to us. He came to assembly to make a statement, but we still won the vote. This is just a bit cocky. He just joined constitutional vote. It's perfectly normal to think that he'll come up with this. This is just like being too naive. this just shows that we are quite a dunce. So I think like number 2 is the best. He came to the assembly to make a statement, but we still won the vote. It's a bit cocky, but that's the best. I'm sorry that we failed to warn you that he will be attending, Mr. President. We should have been informed about his arrival. What Lucian said, we apologize. If it's only Peter, I would say number 3. I learned it from Sergey. How come my driver knows more than you? But since it's Lucian, I don't want to get angry at him, because Lucian is our brains of the operation, and we can really see that Lucian put a lot of effort in like our administration. I really respect Lucian. So that wasn't your fault. In a situation such as this, I would have expected Carl to report it to me, but it's no excuse. We should have done our own research. Do you think like the Carl is basically like the chief of the police? Let me see. I don't think he's in there, right? Yeah, he's not in our cabinet. Oh, we can check the judiciary. 5 all guard, 3 centrists, 3 reformists. This game before, and I don't like Lucian, but he's a very dedicated bureaucrat. The thing is that Lucian he's a bit too robotic, but you definitely can. He may not be everybody's favorite, but Lucian is, if you ask me, he's like the glue that keep us from falling apart. I would say that if from the very beginning we don't have Lucian, we're gonna suffer a lot more. What's done is done. Let's not linger in the past. It's not that important. He didn't do anything. Maybe you should have even Sergey know about it. Well, number 1, I don't want to like pressure Lucian. Let's not linger in the past. From the US perspective, it's very honestly weird to keep a darker skinned majority being accused of mistreating lighter skinned minorities, rather than vice versa. Actually, it's not that hard, because like if you of course, like Africa suffers from well, right now in South Africa, like without a doubt, in the past it's the other way around. There were the Africans, they are treated terribly by the Europeans, but now it's the other way around. It seems like there's a persecution of white people in there, but I wouldn't say like, I still say that they have the wealth, but they are very much targeted right now. What's done is done. Let's not linger in the past. You're right, we must plan ahead now. Yeah, we have the first hurdle cleared, but now we have the Council of Grumpy Old Men in our way. I have to say, that's a fitting description onto the court, but unfortunately for us, they are aware of that. They are our largest obstacle yet. Also, you're forgetting about Miss Edmonds. They are not all grumpy old men. Mrs. Mogna, she's technically a member. The real trouble is Big Daddy Hawker. Are we going to see that? The real trouble is Big Daddy Hawker. We can't let you control the court against us. Well, she could pass this one. Come on, let's not overthink this. I really want to say, like, I really like the second statement. We can't let him control the court against us, but do you need to give it this? Yeah. The real trouble is your Big Daddy Hawker. Like, we can't let him control the court against us. We surely cannot. We need to work with Mr. Garasi and Mrs. Edmonds to undermine Orso. Yeah, this, like, I agree. This game is is great. I played it like when it first came out, and I completed it. Well, the first run I basically go for like pure reformist, but it's not saying that I'm naive. Well, to a certain extent I am naive, but like I push on so many progressive agendas, but I didn't get elected because like the infighting. It surprised me that I got, there's an internal civil war and I lost my second term, but at least like the country moved a lot better because like I put in so many reforms that even the old guards like having a hard time to dismantle my policy that I put forth. So this time I'm not saying that I, how should I say this, like not trying to make for reform, just that I try to scale back like a little bit, going for reform, but I still want to maintain power. That's the stance I'm going for. Mrs. Morna has been helping out with the lobbying of the court. She has been speaking with Mrs. Edmonds, and we believe she's our key figure on the side. What? Like, coup? Our lobbying efforts are continuing positively, but they have yet to yield concrete results. It will be ultimately to Mrs. Mogna and you to persuade the justices, sir. And we already have Nia inside the court. That's one vote out of the 11. If I say number 2, it sounded like we are pressuring her. Hasn't she managed to lobby anyone else? In other words, like there are talks about nuclear, like using nuclear weapons. So if I'm not mistaken, like, so I assume that both the superpower, the capitalist and the communist side each have one. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Did we make one? And did you make an enemy out of one of them? Well, for me is that my stance in international diplomatic relationship is that we are going to like make as much friends, but it turns out that Romberg, the country to our north, they are very aggressive. Like if I were to compare, like we are Ukraine and Russia is Romberg. We already have Nia inside the court. That's one vote out of 11, which leaves us 5 more. This is the best answer, I think. Well, other ones were, but yeah, something actually to nuclear war between the two powers. That's why, like, this is one thing that since I'm trying to remain neutral, I don't want to like isolate either side. I don't want to isolate the capitalist side. I don't want to isolate the communist side. Like my international, like say diplomatic stance is like I want to be like not Bolsonaro. It's Lula da Silva from Brazil. Is that he's a great like diplomat in a sense that he's able to like bridge the gap between both sides, okay, and he leans more on the progressive side. If I'm not mistaken, like if he actually like have great relationship with what is it? Well, what is that country? Maduro. Wait a minute. Which country is it? I kind of forget. It's Southern America or it's Central America if I'm not mistaken. With the one that have a lot of petrol. Well, if I remember, I'll talk about it again. Well, Nia has the ears of Justice Dalton and Merton, so we could assume that we have their support as well. Okay. Venezuela. Thank you. Lula da Silva, he had great relationship with both America and Venezuela. That he's actually like the mediator for a lot of talks whenever the US want to talk to Venezuela, knowing that they will have like a country that can mediate it like fairly. So that gives us 3 votes to start with. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but Mr. Smolna can't do this alone. Let's not forget Mr. Hawker and his loyalists. We still need to reach out Old Guard and the moderates in order to reach 6 votes. Like I just want to show you again. So 3 reformists and 3 centrists. Without a doubt, I don't think we can change any of the Old Guards. And of course, also Hawker is like, it's basically immune to our attacks. Maybe we can chip up 1, but that is if we play it properly. Do you think we can do it? If the Old Guard is against us, how do we even get 6 votes? We can still get it. It's going to be tough. Just say it's going to be tough. Have confidence, but knowing that there's a huge fight against us. More difficult to burn out if you watch long games in smaller increments. Indeed, but then again, she was securing the assembly vote. I tried to like keep it within like 2 hours, like maybe like maximum try to 2.5. Okay, and I'll rarely go to 3 hours, because I do know like this is a heavy game. Like even after like 2 hours, you have a lot of to think about what kind of actions that we did and what's like to anticipate the next trouble that we might face on. But then again, like whatever we see, like it's mostly like in the country, and the next stream we will find out that another country is aggressive against us, and they're like, oh shit, kind of moment. Dude, you help me. Hey Lekpa, what do you mean by helping you? If we cannot get Mrs. Edmund's centrist, we will have no choice but to reach out to the Old Guard. Hey, we won the vote comfortably. I'm sure it counts for something. Yeah, that means that they're gonna give you more aggressive. There is at least some pressure on the court now. The court still sees us as a threat. They will not be persuaded so easily. We never expected this to be easy. Nothing has changed. Don't worry, I'll talk to the justices to convince them. If the justices fail us at this stage, I'm sure the people will see them for who they really are. Well, this is without a doubt number 3 is a given. So, like, I don't need to say this. Like, they should keep this in mind. We never expected it to be easy. Nothing has changed. I think it does. Yeah, it is a bit vibrant. Like, usually, like, I'm quite used to like having me stream alone and talk alone. Among all of these, I think like number 3 is the best. Don't worry, I'll talk to the justices and convince them. It shows that I have the initiative, rather than just let it play out. I believe in you, sir. In any case, we should start with our best bet. I already asked Nia to arrange a meeting with Mrs. Edmonds. She is willing to speak to you. That's a good start. If she's willing to talk, she's willing to cooperate. Good. I'll make sure she joins us. Just watch. What about Heron Garasi? Well, number 1 is good, but I wonder if we can bring Hiron Garasi. Hiron Garasi is actually like one of the Old Guards, and Hiron Garasi actually met us when Chief Justice also Hawker came to visit us and basically like asked us to use the Emergency Act. Now, at some point, I do feel like I should have taken his offer to like to decree like a state of emergency. It's that during that time, okay, there's a huge political violence on both sides, because like the young sorts, the nationalists, the conservative against the communist the communist side, okay, the red youth. Basically, like these two factions, on the both side of the extreme, and like they're trying to well, it all started with the murder of one of the MPs, and when that happened, like each side is like trying to get revenge. Like, of course, the young thought the one that murdered them, and then like the red youth, try to take revenge, and the cycle of revenge keep on going on and on and on. So like at that point, like almost the whole country have protests and like shootings, mass shootings, like 17, 20 people mowed down in a single event. Like, it's really a terrible situation. Like, I was tempted to go with the Emergency Act, but then again, I'm afraid that if I do that, I'll be owing a lot to the Supreme Court. That's why I don't wanna. That's why I don't want to go through that path. So like maybe I can play out. Like if I do that, I can have more talks with the Supreme Court. But now it seems that the old guards, I would say, like they may not be 100% against me, like 80%. Like there's still a chance. Let's ask about what about Hirongarashi. He refused to speak with us. I think like if I did like I say, if I did the Emergency Act, maybe I would have like created more chance for us to speak to each other. He refused to speak with you, Peter. If the president can have a one-on-one with him, I'm sure he'll open up. Oh, he's angry at Peter, not me. Lucian suddenly turned around and pointed at the side entrance of the balcony. Look who's coming. It was Franz Richter. He slowly walked up to us with a smile on his face. Franz Richter is the leader of the PFJP, basically the Reformist Party. Afternoon, gentlemen. How are you all doing? Afternoon, Mr. Richter. We're doing good, friends. We're enjoying the victory at the assembly. Busy as always, Richter. Busy as always. It's a bit cool. You should have let me know if you're coming out. I would have planned a barbecue or something. I think like number 3 is the best. Like, of course, when like this is like there's a saying in Japanese like uso mo hobenda. It means like pleasantry or like treating people nicely is also a tool of the trade. Like, so that's why I'm gonna say this. No need for that, Mr. President. Because I know that he will say no. We should thank you for your efforts. You were of tremendous assistance. Franz bowed his head slightly in response. I'm looking forward to having many more cooperation between us and victories. Kindness can go a long way. But yeah, that is true. But the thing is that the phrase that I said just now is like you have no intentions of doing it, okay? But just saying that it will make people happy, it's like it's what it means. He leaned towards me and lowered his voice. I also hope you will do something about your promise at some point, Mr. President. I promised to make him in our cabinet. Which I don't think it's bad. But I don't want him. Okay, let's just show our cabinet for a while, okay? Like, I don't mind if it's like maybe like I'm just saying, okay? I don't mind him like a minor roles, like for example like agriculture and rural development, okay? Or any one of this. But I don't want him to be on top, like the vice president or the chief strategist, okay? Like maybe some I don't want him to be, like for example like minister of defense. But easy to say, I don't mind if he take in one of these. But I pretty much like most of the people here. Like among all of them, the one that I'm not in favor of is Lilias, because even though she wants to help people, especially if she wants to help people, but she's conservative. But so in other words, like everybody have their there's one thing that you may not like about a person, but that doesn't mean you should hate them. Like she strike that balance, okay? And Simon, like, he also knew that we want he's a businessman, of course, okay? He will lean more to the business side, but he also understands that we are trying to deliver promises to our people. Nia, without a doubt, I fully want her on our side because she's very helpful. Iosef is that I don't like his stance because like he thinks that if we have the money we can like if we have the money we can protect our country, and like he's eager to like go to war. But if I go with him or the military side, the generals, we are gonna be in a huge trouble. Pascal Beniwal is also I put Pascal Beniwal and Kiara on the same level. Is that they are thinking for the better of the people. And David is basically our mentor because he's also our lecturer when the president was in university. Okay, so and he's a very good diplomat. Gus Manger is roughly the same with Simon. So like I say, I'm happy with almost everybody, but if I were to replace somebody, I would like replace these two, Lilius and Gus. But Iosef, I hate him, but I need him. And Iosef is not. You can still negotiate with him. That's why Iosef he struck this balance of you hate him but you need him position. I also hope you will do something about your promise at some point, Mr. President. Lucian and Peter, look at me. I could feel Lucian's suspicious gaze. We'll see. We will see. I can't give you a promise. Like, if one of them screw up, maybe. We most certainly will, Mr. President. But anyway, he's straightened up again. I wish you good luck with the Supreme Court. I have conversed with Mrs. Mogna and Justice Zizek. We have at least 3 justices supporting the proposal. We must be united to break them. We must also be seen as united more than ever. Therefore, I'd like to propose a proper alliance for the next election. Okay, here comes the trouble that here comes a little bit of trouble. I'm just gonna spoil you a bit about what my last run happened at the end. Okay, like I say, I lost my re-election because of infighting and stuff. And what happened was, without a doubt, the USP, they have lower number of seats because like I did a couple of bills that ruin our chance of re-election. So that's one thing. The fact that we lost a couple of seats in the USP is a big problem. And then next thing is that since I basically go 100% with France, it's that it kind of like give France the boost that he need to like overtake us in the Grand Assembly. So what I've been doing right now is like try to like, without a doubt, going for reform, but I don't want to give all the wins to France. So without a doubt, our goal is the same, but to maintain the power, it's like I'm having a tough choice right now whether I should go for both, like for either accept this alliance or to ignore him, because like he might siphon our votes if we form a proper alliance and a more in-depth collaboration throughout the rest of the current term. That was what I was hoping for. We need a proper alliance. Like I say, I'd love to accept such a proposal. An alliance with the main opposition is too big of a deal. I'm afraid that's not an option. I'm glad we were able to work together on the new constitution, but that's the extent of our collaboration. So this Basically, well, there's two choice. Yeah, that's the thing. Is that I don't mind working with him, but I don't want like he took all the credit for it. So that's why like I try to like pass the reform, but at the same time as well like to like not give him everything. So I feel like here is that I think number 3 is the best answer. Okay, an alliance with the main opposition is too big of a deal. I'm afraid that's not an option. Because what happened when we first like this is our second time meeting him in person. During the first time, okay, he's like he was angry at us for like for passing a bill that gave more funding to the current party members, to the current MPs. Okay, he was angry about that, saying that, oh, you're unfair, you are, you know, you're trying to play the system. So like he might see us as an enemy because of that. But what made me extremely angry is that then when we continue discussing our talks, he said that, hey, I'm just looking out for me and my party. We still need to maintain power. Like, dude, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. You criticize me for that, but you have you have no qualms about maintaining your own power. Like that's why like I agree with him in, you know, with his policy, with his stance, but I don't agree with him, like, you know, on how he does things. Like, he can't even see eye to eye in certain things. Like France, it's like he's a person that only look one step ahead. Okay, because he asked, why didn't you try to revoke the immunity for the Supreme Court justices? Like, if I'm able to voice out my opinion, I would have argued, I would say to him, do you think that the Supreme Court justices will agree with that? So like I feel like if he becomes the president, like, let's say for example, like currently, you know, the most thing I'm ashamed of in this playthrough is that my budget is looking terrible. Okay, if France is in our position, okay, and there's like a deal that we can make with Wackland, basically the dictatorial country, okay, when he see the budget is going this bad and the economy is going this terrible, he might have taken the deal with Wackland, but here comes the big but, is that you're gonna get a huge like cash inflow, okay? And the thing is, if you do that, it means that you're gonna rely on them. So like at first they might like, okay, all you need to do is just stop the refugee flow into the country. That's it. But here comes the big but. Like later on, okay, I've never chosen this, okay, he's gonna ask for more. Hey, I need you to help with this. So in other words, like, you know, ask our military to raid on the militants, and that later on, like, he's gonna like escalate further and further. Basically, like, we're gonna rely on him for our power, for our stability of the country. So I can see that like 4-5 steps down the line, and of course, like, it's gonna like deter other countries to like invest money on us. So that's why I don't particularly like Franz Richter. He's a great ally, but not a good confidant, if that makes sense. So without doubt, I'm gonna answer number 3. Okay, sure, Avery. An alliance with the opposition is too big. I'm afraid that's not an option. As I expected. Thank you for the offer nonetheless. Franz reached down at his pocket, fumbled with a handkerchief and wiped the sweat off his forehead. Even he didn't expect this because like we basically agree on the policy, but we can't be allies. He didn't expect this. I can guarantee that he didn't expect this. Besides, you know, I much time on weekends. Yeah, so it's okay. Okay, maybe like so we can meet each other tomorrow if you because it seems that if I'm not mistaken, you're free on weekdays. Anyway, I'll leave it to you three to it. You should catch up soon. I'd rather get back inside now. The sun is getting intense. He walked back to the door and left the balcony. Look at him go! Look at him go! He's such a clown. I would rather have him as my vice president. You're the clown. He seriously wanted to utilize the USB? That's a new. He wants to take credit for the new constitution. That's it. If it passes, that is. We don't need him anymore. He'll get credit in his dreams. I respect the man, but he's overestimating himself. Yep, this is him. He has a tendency to play the nice guy when not playing the victim. Lucian looked at his watch. I think it's time to conclude our little meeting, sir. There's a tap on the shoulder. Livia Suno had joined us on the balcony. Pardon the interruption, gentlemen. Mr. President, David Whiskey is calling about the upcoming foreign policy meeting. Perfect timing. Tell him I'll be right there. Tell him I'm busy. You know the details. Handle him yourself. Number one. Perfect timing. Like I say, David Whiskey is like one of the few people that I have basically among all of the people in my cabinet, I feel like David is okay. If I were to put a tier on who I trust the most, is that it will probably be filled with Kiara, David, Pascal, Lucian, and to some certain extent Nia. Like the second tier is that I'll put Nia, Simon, maybe Peter. Like the one that I have like maybe 60%, 70% agreement with. So yeah, that's the thing. Like these three, Livius, Gus, and IO7, I have my reason to not be happy with them in that position. Perfect timing. Tell him I'll be there. I will, sir. She turned to leave the balcony, then back to us. Congratulations on the victory, Mr. Rayne. Peter. Huh? Peter. She looked at Peter in the eye as she said this, and ignored Lucian altogether. Peter's eye followed her as she walked out. Getting pretty hot out here. Okay, let's call it finished. You may both go. Alright, gentlemen, see you later. They both left. Like I say, I always leave whole sort for the last. So let's go for this one here. Invitation to the movie premiere. Cinema Anglais de l'Ellery. I had been invited to an exclusive preview of Alfred Kirkberg's new film, The Morning Shall Come. Let's just see. Screenwriter. Okay, he's one of the most influential Swedish directors of the decade. And the only Swedish director to be ever nominated for the prestigious Motion Picture Awards in Acacia. Okay. Let's see what kind of... Okay, including an adaptation of the famous Unger with an entirely bluish cast. So in other words that he's on the side of the minority. I don't mind having him on my side, but I'm just afraid that it might anger the conservative or the nationalist party. The Morning Shall Come. Basically like Victor's sister. Although I wasn't much of a movie-going mood, it would have been unpresidential not to attend. It is a massive budget. With its massive budget, Kirkberg's directional cachet, This drama was said to be a milestone for Sordland's burgeoning film scene. Personally though, I was just looking forward to spending some time with my family. It was a very hot and sunny day as Sergei drove us to the old capital. The film was to be screened in the historic cinema Anglais de Ellery, the very first cinema in Sordland. I gazed at the vast plain of Allsort and Ellery as we drove on the H1. Sergei had maxed out the air conditioning to keep the Cadilla comfortable. Frank fidgeted with his tie as he stared out the window. I think it's better to ask, what's wrong, son? What's wrong, Frank? Since when do you care about what's happening in my life? Dude, we talked to you nicely. We even offered you beer. I've been busy lately, but I always have time for you. What an honor, Your Highness. Well, this ungrateful son of a bitch. Oh shit, is that the kiss? Oh shit. Shit. Oh god. I hope she didn't, catch that. Frank, don't talk to your father that way. He's been working so hard for this country. Ignore him and talk to Diana. I don't want to continue arguing this. Excited for the movie, sweetie? Having a good time? Well, 1 or 2. Asking for number 1 is much better if you ask me. Excited for the movie? Diana nodded happily. What about you, Papa? You won something, right? You should smile and keep doing your best even if you lose. It's just fine, Diana. Everything's going to be wonderful from now on. Right, Monica? I think number 3 is the best. That's my girl. Thanks a lot. It's like we're not, like denying or like accepting whatever she said. Just, point out her personality. Everything's going to be wonderful now. Isn't it, Monica? Nope. No more politics. Isn't that right, Monica? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Wifey. Okay, what happened with Monica, our wife, is that we were supposed to give her we promised her to speak to allow her to speak in the Banffy Festival, but then again Gloria Torishi she asked us to give it to a prominent MP, and the thing is she somehow agreed to it, but later she made a scene in the festival, and afterwards that she realized that she was in the wrong. So like now we are in this weird situation where easy to say, that we're not at the best of terms, easy to say. Doing this is like gonna put a tough spot on her. I think like the best one is everything's going to be wonderful from now on, isn't it, Monica? Of course, let's just focus on having a nice time at the movies. Monica folded her arms. Monica folded her arms. We drove on in silence. Sergei rolled down the soundproof glass between us. Sir, we're about to enter Ellery. We'll be at the cinema in a few minutes. Thank you, Sergei. I took a brief look outside as Sergei rolled the soundproof glass up again. I could see the many towers of Ellery rising over what was left of the old city walls. Sergei knocked on the wall and gestured forwards. We were at the main square of Ellery, and the historic Cinema Anglais, the Cinema of Angel, was right in front of us. Is this the place? Yeah. It was an old Baroque style corner building with walls that looked like marble from a distance. There were exquisite ornaments on each side of every window. Sergei pulled the car to the entrance of the building, which was lit by vivid neon stripes in many colors. Come on, let's get out. Uh-oh. Wifey giving us the cold treatment. Sergey opened the door and we exited onto the red carpet. We were just about to enter the building when a journalist managed to block the path. Her again. Mr. President, your constitutional reforms made it through the assembly. How do you feel about their chances with the Supreme Court? I trust the justice will make the right decision. I feel like this is the best. The court will vote my way if they know what's good for them. This is like a not so veiled threat. One way or another, these reforms will pass. This shows that we might use dirty tricks. I feel like number one is the best. Thank you, Mr. President. And you were aware of Tarquin Sol would be present at the proceedings? Of course I was. If I say if I had to find out from my driver, it seems like, oh, there might be problem with our cabinet, problem with the people that we keep around. I refuse to discuss Colonel Sol at this time. If I say that, then I'll be giving him more credence. So if you ask me, the first one is the best. Of course I was. Before she could ask anything else, the guards ushered us inside the theater. In contrast with the cinema's Baroque-style exterior, the inside was modern and sleek, with bare walls painted in black, red, and white. The film cast and crew were already in the foyer, with glasses of champagne in their hands. We approached the crowd and were welcomed by the producers and the event organizers. A man walked up to us with quick steps. The director. Madame, Mr. President, it's so good to see you here. He gently bowed at Monica and shook our hands. It's an honor to meet you. I'm Alfred Kirkbuck. I think it's better to say number one. Okay, the honor is mine. I'm a big fan. Frank snorted. I glanced at him. He innocently took a sip of his cola. It's very humbling to know that you've been watching and enjoying my movies. If you don't mind me asking, which one was your favorite? This one might be slightly different from my previous works. The Man Who Saved the World. Let me double check. Is there anything? Okay, in his film The Swedish Dream was nominated for the Best Foreign Film Award in the Academy Motion Picture Awards. West, I love The Man Who Saved the World. Well, it didn't say anything here, so I think it's better to say I love The Swedish Dream. Oh really? Then you might enjoy this one too. I'll admit, I didn't expect you to be such a cinephile. Frank looked at me in the eye and struggled not to laugh. Why don't we take our seats? It's about to start. Frank, what's wrong? We entered the screening room. The lights dimmed and the film began. It was a period drama set in the 1870s about a Swedish soldier who pursues a doomed romance with a widowed Bluedish farmer during the conquest of Bergia. As the credits rolled, I made an early exit to use the men's room. I was washing my hands when I heard an unmistakable voice behind me. So, what did you think? Oh, God! Why the hell are you in the toilet? Damn you soul! Tarquin Sol leaned on his cane. He had the same frail appearance I noticed at the assembly meeting. Yet up close, I could still sense a raw magnetism that had kept him in power for 20 years. Like, is he waiting in the toilet for us? Like, right now, I'm imagining, like, Tarquin Sol is, like, in one of the toilet booth, and then, like, so you came, Mr. President. And then, like, suddenly, like, the toilet booth door open, and you can see Tarquin Sol he's sitting with the cane on his hand and with his pants down. Oh my god. I found the plot questionable, but it certainly looked spectacular. What about yourself? Complete and admirable. What about yourself? I'm happy that the plight of Blue Dish might finally get the attention it deserves. I think number 3 is best. The plight of Blue Dish might finally get the attention it deserves. Be careful when you extend your sympathies, Mr. Rayne, President Rayne. What the hell? Like, remember, we don't want to make an outward enemy out of him. I'm surprised to see you still around. What are you doing at the assembly? My country was about to make a rash decision. I couldn't simply sit by. Your scheme didn't work. I won. It's not your country anymore. I still have immense respect for you, Colonel. I wish it was reciprocated. Number 4. Don't want to make an enemy out of him. If you're gonna go for the king, make sure you can deal the finishing blow. It will be when you prove yourself worthy of it. I really want to say number 1. A true president knows when he must step down. The assembly considers me worthy. Does that count for anything? It's either number 1 or number 2. Number 3 is bad. Why do you want these reforms blocked so badly? It's like quite hostile. I think I should answer number 1. A true president knows when he must step down. A lesson you would be wise to learn yourself. I will not let you and that bleeding heart idiot Richter tarnish my precious constitution. I'm doing this for the good of the country. Number 2 is true. Richter is a better man than you ever were. Even though we think that it's another thing to say it out loud. Your constitution is ancient history. My reforms will bring Sordland into the future. It is true as well. You tarnish it enough for both of us already. Let's just say number 1. I'm doing this for the good of the country. Ha! Some of his spittle landed on my cheek. You'll find out soon enough how your country repays you for your goodness. He slipped past me and out of the door. Soul's security staff and mine were now clustered outside the washroom, forming a buffer against a large crowd that had gathered. That's Tarquin Soul, I heard someone scream. His guards closed around him and mine around me. By the time the chaos subsided, I was back in the car with my family and Soul was long gone. Uh-oh. All sort post. Rayne and Saul meet at Kirkbug screening. New law on Sordish language vetoed. The Unified Language Act has been vetoed by President Rayne after the approval of Grand National Assembly by a majority vote on Thursday following a 3-hour debate. Quesado Kepner, who campaigned heavily for the bill, criticized President Rayne for his decision to veto the act, saying it contained much vital new rules that would have unified Sordish education and protected the integrity of the Sordish language identity. Now, right now, like, Pulsar Post is like, I would say in between outward in a post to us, or like the post itself is like try to undermine our what we're trying to do, because they didn't like, this is a way of trying to like paint the discourse saying that I'm the bad guy. But if they go further in the details, they will know that yeah, it's right to veto it. Well, depend on who you're talking to, because this is for the minority. Well, I wouldn't think that it's only for the minority. Even like without a doubt, the new language bill, it's like to make sure that everybody in education, they are only allowed to use Sordish. They're only allowed to use Sordish. They can't use other language. Okay, like it's not only for Bluedish, okay, which is people from Bergia, but even maybe in England, you know. One film, two very special guests. Okay, me and Taco and Soul. Washroom Summit. Seriously? Do you need... Washroom Summit, what are Rayne and Soul hiding? Okay. President Rayne and former President Taco and Soul were seen exiting the men's room together. Where did they get this information? While an illicit explanation is not out of the question, it is far more likely that two inveterate politicians were making backroom deals about which the Swedish public, as usual, will be kept in dark. The Radical is committing to getting to the bottom of this meeting. It will keep readers updated as the facts emerge. I agree with Radical most of the time, but I really hate the fact with their tabloid style, you know, like portrayal of whatever I'm doing. Like, it gets me on the nerve reading some of their articles. Rayne vetoes racist language bill. Okay, let me see what he say about it. It's the least he could have done. Do you want more? Like, I just got nothing to say about Radical, man. Like, I'm on your side. Like, I wish like the writing will like soften up a bit after seeing that all the things that I've done. Okay, and they do compliment me like a little bit. I just hope that they add up and like tone down, you know, like the pessimistic view of my actions. Oh boy, really hated them. Report. Richter congratulate vote results. Okay. Romberg whistleblower arrives. Uh-oh. A high-level agent has escaped from Romberg and seeks refuge in Sordland. A whistleblower from Romberg Security Bureau has escaped to Sordland by crossing the border and turned himself to the authorities in Astor. The agent Chelston Hailstone was promised to reveal extreme sensitive information about the development of a weapon program. We can give refuge to him and risk antagonizing Romberg or send him back. If you ask me, okay, this part here, like, we should grant asylum, okay, because like he will tell us about it, and it's not like we're gonna keep the information to us, okay. Like, of course, with that, our military will be more heightened, but the main reason why I want to grant him asylum is that I can like use the information I gain and like lobby it in like make my case in international diplomacy. If I send the agent back, okay, of course like Romberg will be grateful, but here comes the but. It's like it's only gonna buy us some time. That's it. So it's best to grant asylum. But we need to be careful not to antagonize them further. Like, if we antagonize, even if we try to like fight them back, it's gonna lead to a war. Whistleblower in safe house. Transfer to a safe house with Antel. Perimeter is guarded by special forces. Okay, nothing much. Let's read. Geopolitical. Accept whistleblower. Okay. Uh-oh. Let's go for dinner first. I arrived home from work, hung up my jacket, and put my briefcase in the hall. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Wifey. I paused, awaiting my usual greeting from my wife and daughter. Diana was out at one of her after-school art classes, I remembered. But where was Monica? From the living room, I heard a muffled sob. Wifey. I entered to find Monica sitting on the sofa, letting a letter in her hands and a look of despair on her face. Darling, what's wrong? Monica briefly rested her head on my shoulder, then handed me the letter. It's from Department of Education. Frank's university exam results are in. He failed. He must have made us proud. See for yourself. I looked at the page. Below Frank's name and address, his score was written 435 out of 1,000. You can't even get half. At the bottom of the letter, the word fail was stamped in red. All those years of effort, all those private lessons, all down the drain. Maybe it'll be good for him to learn from his mistakes. This isn't just about Frank, you know. Him failing will reflect badly on you, on us. I just don't understand. Frank's a smart boy. Why would he sabotage himself like this? I heard a key turning in the front door. Frank stomped in and was about to go upstairs when he notices both of us in the living room. Mom, Dad, what's going on? Have a seat, Frank. He took a seat across us and I handed him the letter. He started reading it. Oh shit. That's all you have to say? I need a moment. He went to the kitchen sink and washed his face. A moment later, he came back. I never thought this would happen. I'm so sorry. How could you let us down? You made your mother cry with your action. It's not the end of the world. Guilt trip him! It's my fault. I should have been around to help you study. Right, you should have taken a break from running the country to help your loser son. Frank looked close to tears. Monica put her hand on his shoulder. It's going to be okay. You really should have studied harder, Frank. I know. So what am I supposed to do now? Well, there's always military school. You're the president's son. You still have options. If I say two, if I say two, it's like there's no other choice but that. You still have options. Yes. Monica surprised me with her enthusiasm. If Alfonso could get his dimwit son to Kingsale University, I'm sure Wholesome State would have a room for a bright boy like Frank. I'm a respected alumnus, it's true. Hostel State will be amazing. A bunch of my friends are going there. I could still come home to do my laundry. Wait, you could also study abroad. No, I won't influence your life. Damn! Terrific, Hostel State it is. So it is going to cost us a little bit extra due to the privatization changes. Damn! I don't feel like I want to send him abroad. In the last one, I also sent him abroad. Because like, this is what I feel, okay? Is that, what's the problem with Frank is that he basically, like, the problem happened is that when we take out the presidency, he's like, think it's easy. Oh, my dad is the president. I'll somehow manage, like that kind of thinking. But it's not he's outward projecting it, but like he subconsciously realized that. So I would say, like, if I make him stay in hostile state, in other words, like close to us, he's gonna be more spoiled. That's what I'm trying to point out. I think it's better to say you could also study abroad. United People's University in United Contana is free. It also has an excellent medical program. Communism, I can dig that. Not exactly how I was expecting to spend my student years, but anything's better than military. That is the future of our boy. What should we do? Uh-oh. Okay. United Cortana is that, without a doubt, even though they are communist leading, but they are more how should I say this, democratic. Also, State University, like I say, the main reason I don't want him to go here is because I don't want him to be influenced by us, because he subconsciously think that since he's the son of the president, everything's gonna work out for him. So that's why I think like this is like it's gonna in turn, affect him negatively. I won't influence your life, Frank. The military is the right decision. This one here, I feel like if I do this, then Frank maybe like might be brought to the conservative side. This one in the last playthrough, when I first played this game, I sent him to United Contana, and it turned out quite fine. Like number 2 and number 3, I did it. I've never experienced it, but I feel like number 1 is the best. Okay, you're going to United Contana, Frank. Thanks, Dad. Hostel State still would have been my first choice, not only yours. Yee! Wifey! But it's your call to make after the way I messed up. Well, at least he still like didn't put a huge fuss out of it. Monica let out a long exhale. What a day. Who's hungry for dinner? Monica disappeared to the kitchen. Frank to his room. I went to my office and began making some phone calls. Wifey is still sad, right? Supreme Court files Urson v. Sordland dissent. Supreme Court has filed a 6-5 dissent on the Urson v. Sordland case today. Justice Hawker dismissed concurrence. Ministry of Justice citing that the treatment of Bluish people has been equal before the law. Further press releases were made criticizing the words of Vice Minister of Justice. Bluish constitutional right won't be in question for some time. So in other words, like, it leans negatively to the outcome that we want. Court strike down. Akraf anniversary. Hero to some, enemy to others. He is for sure one of the most controversial figures to have ever lived in our country, and his anniversary is approaching. There is one question that is shared in everyone's mind. What will the administration do? Okay, let's look. Bluish carpenter who was killed by Swedish soldiers during his protest against the construction of Sordland. His death and subsequent chaos that escalated between the protesters and the Swedish soldiers came to be known as Isam incident. If I'm not mistaken, bloody protest that occurred in 1933. Every year, people gather in Suzerain to hold a vigil in solemn anniversary of his death. They light their candle in his memory and hold cultural festivals. What is different this year, however, are the claims that the Bluish movement will be holding their largest rally yet in Suzerain during the anniversary. Perhaps it's time for the administration to let bygones be bygones and take a step back to display the unity of Sordland to the people who very much need it. Now, I agree with that. It's that there's been, tensions building up between us and the Bluish minority. So, like, I don't think the thing is, I feel like the Lackhaven Times here, they voice out a very good argument, okay? And I've already planned to do so, okay? It's basically like, if we go there, then you'll see like, oh, this president really wants change. Basically, the plot here, it's in one of my favorite visual novel, okay, which is Kyonyu Fantasy series. Like changing the opinion of others for the better, which is why that is one of my favorite visual novel that I played. Now, without a doubt, it's that visual novel leans heavily on the on the edgy side. Okay? But the thing is that if you look past that exterior, like it's a very like well written series. Okay, like right now there are 4 main entries with DLC, sub story and everything. Okay, and like I at first thought of it as like for the edgy stuff, but after I played all of it, I would say that I would if people ask me what's your most favorite story, what's your favorite game, if you ask me, I would always put Kyonyu Fantasy on top, because it made me cry so many times in all the mainline series, because it's that good. But like I say, you need to look past the exterior. Okay, I would say like their design, they're supposed to like incite that, but you'll be surprised at how much thought it goes into it. Okay, education privatization. Are our children doomed? As we expected, President Rayne's decision to privatize the Sordland education system had seriously deleterious effect. Young people in rural and low-income areas are increasingly priced out of the education they deserve, while a relatively small handful of wealthy families reap the benefits. As proof, the higher-than-ever gap between test scores in Narbel and Horsford, we had high hopes for the Education Minister Kiara Walda when Rayne first approached her, but he seems only to be enabling his delusion and that cooperation will solve all of sorts of problems. Clearly, they both need to go. Justice failed once again. So this is about the fact that going to Horsford State University, you need to pay. Like, I was hoping like when I privatized privatization, what I'm hoping for is that it's both education and healthcare is free to all, but in urban areas, like you can have both choices. But it turns out that Kiara, she made it more, how should I say this, more privatized than I thought. If it's like a balance between privatization and state owned, then it won't be this much of a problem. Oh, okay, let's read first. Report from Rebel. Rural education improves significantly. Rebel is reporting higher test scores and attendees rates since its education facilities were equipped with new textbooks and state-of-the-art teaching materials. The overhaul was a result of the decision to channel more funding to rural schools. The new school completed. Narbel celebrated the opening of its new secondary school, a 2-story building with 50 classrooms and the state-of-the-art teaching equipment. The school was funded as part of the government initiative to improve rural access to education. Now, the one thing that's good that came from privatization is that both we are able to choose 2 policies. Okay, the 3 policies, if I'm not mistaken, is that build new schools, improve education in rural areas, and third is to increase the wages of the educational staff. Now, all of them are good, but I'm disappointed that we can't choose 3. But since we privatize, we can choose another one. It's like 1 + 1. So I choose both to make new schools and improve rural education quality. ceremonial duty of the day of the Ascension. Morning haze surrounded the city of Dare as the sun dawned on the day of the Ascension. The holiest day of Niriti religion, it celebrated the first message received from God by Saint Das and his 30 disciples. As per tradition, the celebration was held inside the Ark Sanctuary of the Trinity, close to the public eye. This year, however, for the first time ever, it was going to be televised. That was Lucian's idea. As he saw it, granting the people a rare glimpse of the grand ceremony and showing them how seriously their president took this holy event, it would ease tension that lingered in the region. And by the way, we are from there. And so we arrived at the largest cathedral in Sordland. A huge crowd gathered around our convoy as our car pulled up to the entrance. This will work out well, trust me, sir. Of course, that only if the prayer is done completely correct. Please don't forget the order. Uh-oh. First, you need to grasp the holy scepter with your left hand. Okay, I think I need to write a note. Holy scepter, left hand. Okay, then touch the altar with your right hand. Okay, then altar, right hand. Okay, then kneel before the archpriest. Okay, next. Kneel, archpriest, and wait for him to put the sword on shoulder. Wait, put sword on shoulder. Okay, I took some notes here. Then touch. Oh my god. Then. Okay, let me see. Then touch. Oh, give me a second. Then touch sword. Then touch sword. Hand touch altar. If hand touch altar, then use right hand. Okay, then touch sword, right hand. Hand the scepter over the archpriest and receive. Hand the scepter. Hand scepter. Over to the archpriest. Hand scepter, archpriest. And receive the sword. Receives the sword. Then pass to disciple. Holy sh! Pretty straightforward, isn't it? No, it wasn't. The best answer is 2. Yeah, sure. Very good. You will have to go first. I will come inside later when we will meet up after your part is done. Good luck, sir. Exit the car. Oh boy. I exited the car and I was greeted by a chorus of cheers and camera flashes. I waved to the people as I made my way to the grand gates. The Ark Sanctuary was a sight to see. With its towering visage, it cast a shadow over a large portion of the city. I had to crane my neck to see the narrow spires at the top. Just standing next to it made me feel awe and dread in equal measure. I reached the gates. I spotted my welcoming committee. The archpriest and his disciple were waiting for my arrival. At my approach, they all bowed their heads in respect. The archpriest gave me an infectious smile as he straightened back up. Tall and handsome, in his mid-50s, he was one of the youngest and most popular archpriests in history. Some of his more avid followers even likened him to the Saint Das. Mr. President, praise God, it is a blessing to see you on our most holy day. Welcome, welcome. I think it's better to bow to show respect, because remember, this is going to be televised. It shows that we respect religion. That's what I think. I bowed my head before the archpriest, which triggered a few murmurs of approval from the crowd. Yep, I was right. The crowd was still cheering loudly. The archpriest turned and raised both his hands, and everyone immediately fell silent. Oh, great people of Sordland, once again we are gathered here to honor the day of the Ascension. I am indescribably happy to be sharing this moment with you, as well as every blood and sword. Ah, so is he a bludish? Let's check. Ah, no codex. Young, old and young, tuning in their television to watch this holy commemoration. Along with the leader of our great nation, I say, let the holy day begin. Stay far from evil, O sons and daughters, for evil hides itself under many disguises. Disguises such as blasphemy, apostasy, and even alcohol. Be good, my children. Praise God, praise Sordland. He smiled beatifically as the crowd burst into rapturous applause. After it subsided, he turned to me. Shall we move inside for your confession? Give me a second. Just a second. Okay, I'm back. My sinuses is acting up a bit. Shall we move inside for your confession? Pull the priest aside for a photo. Yeah, pull the priest aside for a photo. I pulled the priest aside for a photo. Many flashbulbs burned my eyes at the same time. I heard whistles, claps, and cheers from the crowd. Most excellent. He led me through the main hall, which had stratospheric ceiling and numerous icons lining the walls. We walked up the creaking spiral staircase and the top floor and finally arrived at the front of the confession chamber. Right this way. He gestured toward a chair in the dark room. The room smelled of old mahogany and scented candles. The archpriest proceeded to light each and every one of these candles, one for each virtue and vice. I'll be right with you. He left the room. A minute later, I heard the sound of sliding window right next to me. He spoke with a very soft voice. President Rayne, speak and confess before the one God, and may He repent your sins on the most holy day of the Ascension. Is it bribery? I don't think I was right. I confess that I'm not doing enough for Sordland. What I'm doing for Sordland is enough. Okay. I confess that I'm not sure I'm doing enough for Sordland is enough. You do carry a heavy burden on your shoulders. What you have confessed is not a sin, but you may share your burden with me if you like. I'm trying to reform the country, but I don't know if the country is ready for it yet. Reformation is a tenet of liberty, yet it must come slowly but surely. Anything else you'd like to confess? I confess that I have been a bad husband. Family is the cornerstone of society. Under the watchful eyes of the God, men are required to protect their wives and family. But God created us as a complex creature. At times, conflict rises among us. Tell me, what was your sin? I've been neglecting my family due to stress of my position. Tragedy of neglect happens to all working men that feeds his family. Rejoice. God is kind in the matters of family. Anything else? That's all for today. The bribe is basically, like, if I'm not wrong, it's with Coronti saying that we will help him gain power in exchange for better coverage. That's all for today. Before God, I thank you for sharing. You are now forgiven before God, President Rayne. May you never sin again. The sliding window closed and the archpriest entered the confession chamber. I got a feeling if I confess the bribery, then like the information might get leaked. For the confession to end, you must extinguish a candle representing each one of your virtues and vices. With this, the The once burning sins connected to you now, smoke, and then nothing. Extinguish the candles. One by one, I extinguished the candles. Well done, Mr. President. Let's move on to my quarters before the ceremony. He led me through the 1,000-year-old corridors to his office. The smell of dust and old tools was in the air, along with the scent of burning incense being prepared for the ceremony. Well then, please have a seat. The wooden chair next to him looked like it was turned to dust at a single touch. I sat down gingerly. It was surprisingly sturdy. Are you ready for the ceremony? Absolutely. Very good to hear. He leaned back in his chair comfortably. I wanted to give you something. A gift to celebrate this special day. He pulled out a large rectangular box from his desk drawer. The box was lined with gold and expensive gemstones. A beautiful sight, isn't it? He opened the box and showed me what was inside. It was a dagger. The handle looked like it was made of pure gold and had a very large gem at the end. On the blade, the words were inscribed, Victor Cisda, victory is close. On the other side, another set of words, King Edmund. This dagger belonged to King Edmund. It is a very important artifact of the Kingdom of Sordland era. It is now yours, Mr. President. Huh? Why are you giving me this? Thank you. It is an honor. Think of the past and think of who we are. Traditions are what brought us to this point. Now then, it should be about right about time. A couple knocks were heard on the door, and a young boy came in. He bowed before the archpriest, then me, before letting us know that the ceremony was about to begin. Okay. We made our way downstairs where the ceremony was already in progress. The choir sang angelically as the archpriest took his position beside the altar. When they finished their hymn, an expectant silence fell over the room. It was time for my part. I started my walk, bowed, and approached the altar. Okay, scepter. Let me see. It says here, scepter, left hand. Holy scepter, left hand. Then touch the altar with your right. Okay. Altar right hand. After that, kneel before the archpriest. Okay. Archpriest lay the sword on my shoulder. Lay the sword on my shoulder. Touch the sword with the right hand. My right hand. Okay. Hand scepter to the archpriest. Scepter archpriest. I handed the scepter to the archpriest and waited for him to give me the sword. The archpriest handed me the sword. Receive sword, then pass to the disciple. Pass the sword to the disciple. Okay. I got up and proceeded to my designated spot next to Lucian. He leaned over and whispered in my ear. Compared to last year, that went surprisingly well, sir. My eyes met archpriest. Met the archpriest and he very slightly nodded. The ceremony went on another hour and a half. Finally, the noon bells chimed, marking the end of the cathedral service. As I stepped outside, I heard everyone cheering and chanting my name. Lucian's gambit seemed to have been a success. We waved proudly for a minute or two. See, sir? I told you it would work. Basically, we did the right thing. We entered our cars and drove back to our suites in there. Let's check. President attend the day of the ascension? Okay. I don't think. Oh. Briefing on diplomatic strategy. I think after this we'll end the stream. The doors to the White Room, like everyone else in the Maroon Palace main nerve center, were painted white. I took a deep breath before pushing them open. Time for yet another meeting. At least this time, it was with the people who liked me. Are you sure yourself liked you? The attendees rose up from their seats. Mr. President, ISF nodded, and he and Lucian sat down, while David remained standing. Now that you are here, let's talk about our diplomatic strategy. David cleared his throat. Mr. President, if I may, I would like to provide you with a short overview of where we are right now. Go ahead. Although we did not make trade deal with Westland, we succeeded in making one with Magnolia, which means we have increased our presence in the region. These deals were important pieces of leverage and significant first steps in the global arena. They must now look towards the future. Go on. David sat down, pulled out a few papers and started going through them as he kept talking. Westland and Magnolia were practice runs. We must begin improving our relationship with greater nations. We need to elevate our international standing, especially with the threat of Rumberg looming. ISF cleared his throat. Mr. President, you know, I don't trust the helping hands of other countries offer us for a good reason. I think we should. But I also know when those helping hands are necessary. And right now, we need all the help we can get. I've said this over and over, and I will repeat it until you get it through your skull. Rumberg will come sooner or later. And with the current state of our military, if a Rumberg invasion happens, Sordland will cease to exist. We need allies. We ought to heed General Lancia's advice, Mr. President. I trust your assessment, ISF. Thank you, Mr. President. A military perspective is important, but these deals are about more than just gaining allies. We also need to consider the benefits to our economy such deals will provide, especially when we are still struggling to end the recession. David took a seat and brought out 2 stacks of documents. At the start of our term, I had a comprehensive trade deal plan laid out. Following the visit to Westland and Magnolia, we were to pursue potential trade deals with 2 greater nations. Voxham is one of them, or at least was. Unfortunately, a trade deal with them no longer seems possible. In Voxham's case, given the country's territorial ambition, our alliance with Magnolia was rather a slap in the face. Now, those communists won't be able to invade Magnolia without facing the might of the Saudis' armed forces. It will make them think twice. True, but as a result, we won't be able to conduct a trade deal and let them proceed with any diplomatic missions at the moment. Now, I would like to say is that gaining Magnolia is gonna help. It's gonna be a significant thing when going against Rumberg, but I feel like having Voxland helping us, it will give us a better boost to our economy. So that's the big downfall. In other words, like there's another path, which is that you make, instead of making the highway, you make the railway. If you make the railway, then like the bad side is that you are neglecting the Anglo-Swardish minority. Like with that, I feel like we gain a significant boost from it. We won't let Magnolia get bullied by Voxland. Unfortunate, so much needless dispute over such a small island. I think number 2 is better. So much dispute over a small island. I'm afraid it might get much worse in the future. As we stand right now, any kind of deal with Voxland is simply out of the question. Moving on to Lesbia. Our southern neighbor is one of the most wealthiest countries in eastern Macopa. A trade deal with them will be very beneficial, not just for our economy, but also for regional and international presence. Not to mention that they are in Akazian sphere. A trade deal with Lesbia could open many doors to us. True, a country as influential as Lesbia could help elevate our economy. That is for the overview. As to the actual contents of the trade deal, Lucian pulled out his small notebook and quickly flipped through the pages until he landed on the right one. Looking at my stats here, we now have a small tungsten surplus, which makes an excellent resource for trade. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I need to know your decision before we can proceed. What should we do? Before we say anything, remember what I said. We need allies, not just trade deals. If Rumble attacks, we will fall. Begin the negotiation with Laspia. Excellent news, I will begin at once. That was all I had for today. Thank you for coming. Thank you, gentlemen. ISS saluted as we left the white room. Okay, let's just check out the reports and we'll just end the stream then. Report and the news. Recession hits workers. Uh-oh. As in the rest of Sordland, workers in Gelsord are bearing the brunt of the recession. Manufacturing sector has been hit particularly hard, as a record number of factory workers filed for unemployment over the past month. Uh-oh. I think the budget played a significant role, because like the lower your budget, like it's gonna affect the currency. Read the report from Laren. Report from hospital and clinics in Laren indicate a significant rise in the quality of healthcare. Since the additional funding was channeled into rural areas, mortality rates appear to be decreasing, while patients are reporting higher level of trust in physician and medical facilities. Armory development speeds up following highway construction. Like Haven Armory has resulted in decreased logistical costs and higher traffic flow to the latter city. The pace development of Armory has consequently quickened significantly, with dozens of construction projects now on the horizon. Not bad. Also post. Isolated polio cases as seen in Bergia. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Polio cases explode in Bergia. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Rayne will visit Latvia for trade deal. Now, like Haven, it's like they are on our side. It's probably like to inform us, okay, this is bad. While the horse outpost like, it's only Bergia, let's leave them, kind of tone. So that's why I feel like we're gonna be having we're gonna have a huge trouble. But at least since we boosted our healthcare, it's gonna provide us with significant defense against polio. Well, anything else? Read the report. Currency losses value against Acacia Lira has steadily been slipping against the Acacian Lira, though the exchange rate has not yet approached the all-time low during the Afonso administration. Okay, so basically we are losing our currency value. Now, I hope that, you know, for us to like have a trade deal with Laspia, it will like somehow stabilize our currency. All of this that I've done for the budget, it's easy to say it's a necessary thing, because like one of the main thing is you know, trade deal with Agnolia. With that, it kind of like we need them to sign a trade deal with us, okay? And also we are trying to like improve England, okay? So I have no choice but to do that, okay? Because Romberg might attack. That's my biggest reason. And also like, you know, spend some funds on the agricultural zone. But I did say I do wish that if I can turn back time, I would spend a budget on one of the infrastructure, like to boost our economy. I should have done that, even though they were going to be -6. But I do feel like it's gonna like give us stall us some time, or like provide a good chunk of it's gonna provide a good chunk of money later down the line. But the thing that annoys me is that I haven't like received any like any improvement in the budget ever since we started playing. Oh well, I think like that's it. Let me just check, what is it? Dinner with the Justice Isabel. Oh, this is good. So yeah, I think I'll end the stream here, and tomorrow we'll start with having dinner with the Supreme Court justices, and hopefully we can persuade it to come to our side. Okay, I'll tell you a bit about my experience in the next run. Okay, so with that said, I'll end the stream here, and I'll continue this tomorrow. Okay, hopefully tomorrow will not have any negative things. Okay, so with that said, I'm gonna end the stream here, and I'll continue this tomorrow. Bye bye.